Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf and Andy Serling joining you from the Clubhouse studio here at the Big A. We'll be covering Tampa and Aqueduct on the show later today as Oaklawn is out for the weekend. Cold weather down there.
Yeah, and we're hoping we're going to be having racing tomorrow because we have some good races, but
the cold weather could be an issue.
Yes.
But we're racing today, and look, the initial report was for a lot more snow, and it looked like today was a sure cancel. And as it turns out, we're here, so we're glad to be here. Happy to start with the card. Greg's a little under the weather.
More than a little, but I'm going to power through.
He's a trooper, that Greg Wolf.
Andy is going to carry everything today.
Everything.
The show, Talking Horses as usual. Everything.
And you'll do fine. You do. You know, I almost disingenuously said to you, well, you don't have to come in. I could host today. And I'm thinking, I really hope Greg doesn't say, good idea, I'll stay home. Fortunately, he's here, and he's suffering for me. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code MATCH200, and we'll match with $200 of your initial deposit. What else do we have going on? Track stats, check them out at NairaBets.com. You can also follow through if you follow Naira Bets on Twitter. Travis has had enough. He's out of here. He's seen us for about 2 minutes.
I don't blame him.
Guy's already splitting. Speaking of splitting, $2,000 hit and split, late pick 4. You got to opt in over at Naira Bet. That's races 5 through 8 on an 8-race card. Let people know there will be no cross-country pick 5 today. Some issues with post time, so we were forced to cancel pick 5. What else do we have? I think that we got the show, right? 1:30 to 4:30 today for the show. Is that what we got, guys? Oh, okay. It's 1:30 to 4:30 on FS2, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're on soon.
Very soon. I know it throws me off when we don't have more time. It's just sort of going. But we'll once again we'll soldier through. So race number 1, I'm going to start by showing a race that I know Greg's familiar with, the 2017 test. And when you ask yourself why are we looking at the 2017 test, because it's a Friday and it's snowing at Aqueduct, and we want to show stake races for horses who have their first foal running in the first race today. $500,000 for weather delay.
And this wasn't her only Grade 1 win. Won the Humana Distaff as well.
Ah, correct, yes. Yes, she's beating Fabian, by the way. This was Simon Callahan, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, and those are the Kaleem Shah Silks, I believe, right?
Another one of my losses at Saratoga.
Really? This wasn't close, Greg. This is your first full summer in Saratoga? 17?
Full summer, yes.
Yeah, so you were there. And she's damn this horse, $500,000, left it here. We see some good horses here. We'll see. I guess the board will somewhat tell. I don't know what to do. A Curlin, I mean, mile first time out, so she was more of a sprinter type. It is a huge pedigree, though.
Yeah, the other runners in here have not shown me a ton, so I didn't feel like she had to run this massive effort to try and get the win first time out. This is the first foal. The second dam started 2 for 2 as well, albeit on synthetic. It was Grade 2 place. But you can't deny what American Gal was on the racetrack, who started out extremely precocious. She was 2 for 2, multiple Grade 1 winners we mentioned. So I thought take the new face against some horses that, especially like Experimental, did not take a lot of money first time out for Chad Brown, didn't run all that well, certainly could improve.
Well, let me just say something about weather delay. This was a Mandy Pope horse, and she sold this horse. Now, listen, your owners, you take some money off the table, and sometimes big owners will sell horses that end up doing very well. But that bothered me a little bit, this horse. And I picked him second. I respect the pedigree and everything, or her second. I shouldn't say it. You say Experimental didn't get bet that much. There was a lot going on in that race. And I have a memory of betting this horse. And I have a memory, I believe I had a bit of a tip on this horse. And I'll say, broke slowly, had no speed, and didn't do a heck of a lot of running. I got a feeling this horse is going to run better. I have no information since that race. I think they liked this horse before she ran her first race, and I'm going to give her one more chance. But I don't disagree. She didn't do any running in that race.
And then, gosh, I mean, so you have the 5-horse back there somewhere. This first race, it's the 4 really biggest barns on the circuit, plus Mike Maker, isn't it? I mean, you got Pletcher, Chad Brown.
He's pretty big too, that Mike
Linda
Maker,
Rice, Dutrow now, who's winning everything, and Maker. But so outside, it's Dutrow with Catherine Marissa. And this horse, that was a pretty good race. I guess in terms of the race everyone's coming out of, is that the best race?
I guess. I mean, I didn't think she did any running in there
She didn't.
whatsoever. I thought she just was bad. She broke a little awkwardly, but
I thought she did come out a little side. She did hit the gate.
Yeah, but she just did no running. I mean,
Yeah.
Experimental had a worse start than she did. What about Just Music as we'll head down to her last start? Linda's being awfully aggressive. I mean, I'm guessing with Linda, they said this field was coming up small. It's a mile race, and she figured, let me take a shot and see where she stands. You can't really knock her, moving up, though. It just feels like, isn't somebody supposed to be better than this horse?
It's a 23-1 shot that wins this race.
Yeah, but a horse came out of this race to win. I think the fourth place finisher won out of this race.
Yeah, who won a state bred maiden special, actually.
I know, but improved the buyer figure like 10 points or 12 points.
No, I thought that was a good thing. It wasn't a maiden claim. Did go to the knees and break outward a little bit in that debut. I think there's room for improvement. Certainly, it's going to improve probably, you would think, going to this barn, too. A good chance of that. But weather delay might be okay.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. If weather delay is okay, she won't be 5-2. She'll be even money or 4-5. There's just no way there's not going to be a story, I would guess. But then again, Todd Fletcher, I know it was the Mud. They had a first-time starter win last week, got an 88 buyer, and the horse paid like $9 in an indiscriminate field. So maybe they, it is interesting. It's a different assistant because Byron Hughes resigned, and Byron's gone. Byron was an assistant for Todd for, feels like, for forever.
Yeah.
He's going to go back to school, actually. I think he wants to become a vet.
Really?
Yeah, so we wish him luck. Race number 2. So race number 2, I'm Buzzy. We'll show I'm Buzzy's last start. I'm Buzzy sure found the right field last time, didn't
Massive
she?
drop.
Yeah. But it's going to Linda. I mean, she's obviously dangerous.
And the drop was this race. So it was 40 down to 16 for Pat Reynolds. Was supposed to destroy this field and did, but now, Linda claims now comes back in 8 days. I did like the finish in this race and won pretty easily, which tells me, Linda's very good bringing him back this quick, and it's a positive sign she's bumping the horse up a little bit, isn't it?
Off the claim in the dirt, 1 to 14 days, 10 for 36, 264, and in sprint she's 5 for 22, 205. So she does have good numbers doing it. I don't like the fact that she was a giveaway last time. She's the horse to beat. I'm not taking a big stand against her. She's not the horse she once was. She's the horse to beat in this race, but I'm going to give Hydra one chance in here. If you look at Hydra's, we'll go back to Saratoga, July 28th, and this was her last big race. It's also the last time that Rudy Rodriguez claimed her, and trained her. And Rudy lost her for 40, and as soon as they dropped her in for 20, Rudy was right back in. She has always been a bit of an in-and-out type horse, but if she's able to run back to an effort like this, she'll crush I'm Buzzy. And I thought it was pretty interesting going back to Rudy, and I thought it was an interesting reclaim because Rudy certainly saw that she had lost her form, yet he had no problem going back in for the same people who owned this horse before.
It's a tough read. I mean, way over her head next time out off that win at Saratoga, that allowance optional 62.
Her form's been bad. But I'm going to give her a shot going back to Rudy's barn. I mean, there's nobody else I want in here, Greg. I mean, you've got Everly's gal who comes out of conditional claiming race in the slop last time. I'm not saying she's impossible in here. I've got her third. I'm not really afraid of her, though. I'm Buzzy's kind of supposed to beat her, isn't she?
Yeah, I would think so. But there is the question coming back that quick. But I think I'm Buzzy's way the horse to beat. But did run, Everly's girl ran a very big figure.
With the bias.
Yes, and it was a wet track. I'm a little can she do it again on a fast going? Because she never had that kind of figure on a fast track before.
Also an ex-Jacobson horse. I'm suspect of her. I've got her third. I'm going to give Hydra a chance for Rudy. Anything else in here?
And she's going to get pace pressure, isn't she, from Slack Tide?
Well, Sweet as Sugar is going to go. The thing about Slack Tide is, and I'm glad you mentioned her, she has a chance to get loose in here, and she may be a different horse if she's able to get loose on the front end.
And
she
gets
had
weight.
a lot of pressure last time, but that track was kind of speed. She's been disappointing, but she is a horse, if she can control, could be a little braver.
Yeah, and that race 2 back, I mean, that was a 9-time winner, Sue Ellen Michigan, that she battled in there and just lost to.
One of the stranger claims that Linda Rice has made, actually, Sue Ellen Michigan. Race number 3. So I'll show the replay of Song of Salamini and Dame Catherine, coming second and third last time. I don't know about you. I had a lot of trouble with this race.
It's an incredibly difficult race. I mean, I defaulted to Song of Salamini just because there's 61-1 in this race.
That's my problem.
At least was adding blinkers, showed improved speed. I do like the fact it was 2 sprints and then stretching out, which Django I like anyway, and then the horse was forward, but was neck and neck. with the 4-horse who kind of backed out of it, then had to put away the 6 as well. So it took a couple of, different challenges and was still fighting in the end. At least I like that and showed the ability. There's not a lot to love in this race.
Yeah, there is nothing to love in this race. And Chris Engelhardt's going very well. I guess that she is the horse to beat. I'm hoping getting off of the sealed track will help Handle on You. You look at the horse's best 2 figures were on unsealed tracks. The 2 sealed track races were terrible. And the horse was 8-5 last time, and I have to think that the sealed track was not helpful. So I don't love this horse, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to give a little bit of a shot to Handle on You to get back to better form on an unsealed track. It's just my best idea. The track sealed before the race, I wouldn't bet a nickel on this horse.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I'm supposed to say here. There's just no form to go on at all.
Yeah, I mean, Dame Catherine, it's a rematch with Song of Salamini, and the way that one put that horse away, I can't put Dame Catherine back on top over that one.
I agree. But Song of Salamini ran a better race.
Yeah.
Much better race. I mean, I guess say Dame Catherine is getting Lasix. Maybe that'll help her. It's a very tough race to get overly enthusiastic about anybody.
And just last thing I'll say, Mel's Angel, Lisa's going to try more ground. There's no guarantee a closing type sprinter is going to like getting more ground, but I didn't love that last race from this horse last time out. We'll get Lasix as well, but maybe some changes for Mel Giddings can wake this one up a little bit. You don't need to wake up a lot against this group, do you?
I'm not knocking anybody in here. I didn't like this horse, but I'm not going to. Somebody wants to bet anybody in this race, especially at a better price, be my guest, though she's 7-2 morning line, and to me, she's just not a contender, but listen, it's not going to take a good effort by anybody to win this race. Win this race, going to run a 40 buyer. In all likelihood, or if they run much higher, they're going to win by open lengths. Race number 4, I hate to say these races are, at least on paper, but I don't know who you're supposed to take in here besides Scarlet's Dream and Unicorn Cake, and we'll show Scarlet's Dream. The horse, do we both have this horse on top, or did you go 6-4?
Yeah, we both do. I'm 4-6.
I mean, I just thought Pat Reynolds' horse has been running very well. I know Fabulous Fox came back and ran poorly last time, and we have seen horses come back and not run as well out of that race, but still, I just thought the horse has run 2 consistent races and is supposed to be the speed. And if nothing else, she's outside of the other speeds if they want to be super aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, she's a 6-horse. I actually really like this finish from her. She broke last in this spot. She did not get out great. She just was a step slow. I thought she was 3 to 4 wide basically the entire way, and I really like the finish she put in this race, and I feel like she could build off that. And it was at 7/8, so I don't think the mile is going to be that much of a dramatic stretch here.
She's a Matoli, but she ran figures at a mile. She ran a figure at a mile 2 back that's good enough to win in here. And, with Unicorn Cake, I think we're just sort of one day hoping she gets back to her debut, and she does get Lasix, and she gets some class relief. But she's been awfully disappointing. She has never run a buyer figure as fast as the figure she got in her debut.
Yeah, it's been a downward progression, but you can make the argument she's faced a little bit tougher company as well.
Yep.
And sometimes it is a detriment, isn't it, when you win first time out? I mean,
sometimes, but she's had 4 chances, and she just sort of run mediocrely every time. She's the other horse here. I mean, these are the 2 horses. They're 7-5 and 2-1. Yeah, you look at Run for Your Honey. Yeah, she had an easy win last time. She ran a 50 buyer.
Yeah.
Where is her particularly fast race? Best thing she has going for her is Mike Maker. I guess the thing that helps the 6 is if the pace heats up, it might help her.
I was tempted, not in any way for the win, because I think Scarlet's Dream's way the horse to beat in here. Underneath, Tamaki is a horse that's a little bit interesting. Probably going to be a price.
Because?
I just like the fact that it's going to have speed from the rail, and I know it was incredibly slow time, but at least the horse was effective going a mile distance at Finger Lakes, a mile 70.
I rarely take the Finger Lakes horses and felt like that horse would have to improve a lot, and it seems like more often than not the Finger Lakes horses regress when they come from there. But listen, horse is a big price if you're interested in the horse. That's the first 4.
Not for a win candidate.
I can see in your picks you don't have the horse to your top horse. So if there's a Pentafecta here, you're in. I don't know why they call it the high 5. It should be the Pentafecta, right? Shouldn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back to the last 4 races in a moment.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back. Greg Wolf and Andy Serling. The late pick four. There's a $2,000 hit and split on the late pick four as well today, which you want to opt in for. And I just can't show this race enough, Greg. And this is the famous disqualification. And Brick Ambush, if you believe that there's justice, and for those of you that are horse players, you're wondering if I'm saying that tongue in cheek, I am at the racetrack. The justice would be this horse will win today because this is one of the most controversial, other than Alamuse, where the wrong horse was taken down, this was about as baffling a decision. No, I think this was the most baffling decision I've seen in my life at the racetrack.
Way the horse to beat off the figure two. I felt what this horse did last time out. Fourth in the race was the Big Torpedo. Came back and won by 10 lengths.
He was
to
the one
close
who
out
was
the
sawed
card.
off.
Right.
Right.
Won by a country mile.
He was the one that Brick Ambush didn't foul except for 3 people.
Right.
That he fouled.
For Morley, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this horse is absolutely way the horse to beat. It seems too good to be true. And I thought there was some upside with Doc Sullivan, so that's why I went to the one.
All right, go ahead.
Look, I love 2 sprints in that foundation stretching out to a mile. This horse has, don't know how he did it, but a massive bullet drill since that time. And makes this huge move into the turn, was wide, and we don't like to overuse this, but there was a lot left on the gallop out from this horse. If you watch back what happened in this race, this horse had plenty left after the wire. So there's some concern because there's a lot of sprint in the female
He's
family.
also never been on a dry track.
Yeah, could improve getting on dry track for the first time. That is a concern. There's a lot of sprint female side, but I think if you do watch that gallop out, this horse has plenty more left in the tank and more to give on the stretch out.
It's going to be a bit of a price in here. And the third horse came back to win yesterday in our last race, but he also should have won this race because he was badly, he had compromised the start. And then yesterday he rode the bias, which exaggerated his performance. But nonetheless, he did come back to win the last race. I want Slam and Gold. This is not a reliable barn. I mean, I've had a lot of trouble. You'll often see Kimmel horses that run very well and then they don't show up the next week. This horse completely blows the brake. And I mean, settles in 4 lengths off the lead easily. And this is a speed type horse. And just makes this gigantic run right up the lead. I mean, this horse went his half mile in about 45 and 3 or 4. Doing it, making a big wide run. Now, it was probably a fair racetrack where you're a little better, a little off the rail. Probably not as much as Doc Sullivan, where people really stayed off the rail. But it makes this huge run, and no big surprise, falls back badly. That wasn't a bad field. This horse got, a decent figure in the prior race, breaking the maiden. And if he breaks today, I think he's going to be tough. And he is a Tappet. He's supposed to be okay, the difference. And Bar Gold, I mean, she won going long on the turf, and I know she won the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint, but there's no reason this horse doesn't have a pedigree to go a little longer, and this horse ran remarkably well given the break last time.
No, there's plenty to like. I mean, I have him in third in this spot, but I'm with you. It's funny you bring that up because there's a horse later, too. I believe it's Michelle Nevin, who's a fantastic trainer. But it's just the Chad Browns, the Todd Pletchers, they are so good at, horses not just coming off wins, but maintaining form. And with other barns, it's hard to do because the competition, for one, gets so much tougher. But those barns seem to be the top of the top. That's why they're the top. But they're good at doing that, getting them to win multiple times in a row.
I think that one of the most important stats is trainers off wins, because as you say, often they're moving up, and it's very hard to keep horses in form. And I agree. I've had this disagreement with a friend of mine who doesn't think that stat means anything. I disagree very much, and I think it matters a lot. And I just feel as though this is a barn that, over the course of time, is not that reliable to come back and run from one race to the next. But I think has run 2 very good races in a row. So I picked this one over the 4. You've got the 1 as your alternative. Anything else?
Well, 1's my top pick.
Yeah, I'm saying you have the 1 as the alternative, the 4, and I have the 6.
The 2, a little bit interesting. I just feel that
Last time was the time for that horse.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
let's cut back.
I do like cutting back. The mile and 1/8 might have not be the best for this horse and was still able to gut it out and win. So I do think cutting back might be, we could still see some improvement
I
from
think the
Brown.
cut back definitely helps this horse, but
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was good enough. Race number 6. I'm betting race number 6. I'm going to start out by looking at Perpetual I'm not sure what I should be looking at race 6. I'm going to show Perpetual Praise, a horse that neither of us likes at all for Ray Hales, the maiden win. I mean, I think this is sort of one of the description of the race. This horse broke his maiden at Belmont back in June, came back to Saratoga, was a non-factor in a weak race, and hasn't been seen since. She's just not really that fast, right? What price is she?
9-2 Morning Lion.
This is yesterday's. Who's favored in here, Morning Lion?
I believe it is the 4. Yeah. 3-1. And Juliana's Rose 7-2.
What do you think of the 4?
I actually picked the 4. Look, and first of all, the horse we just showed probably going to get the lead again, right? I just have
Your 4 should be close.
Yeah. I have no faith the 5 is going to be able to hang on to that lead. I wound up going to the 4. It's 7 days back. That last time out effort was down on the rail, and the rail, as you noted that day, was not doing well.
Well, this horse was too wide, but I'm not sure you didn't want to be in any of the inside 3 paths. You're not right on the rail, this horse, because I did watch it. This horse is not right on the rail at any point. You're disagreeing?
On the backstretch, I felt the horse was. I'll look at it again, but I thought the horse was down on the inside.
Watch that on. I don't think the horse is in the best part of the track. I don't disagree. I like Marcelo. I hope the horse wins for him. He trains a horse I always really liked, but it's a tough barn to take as the favorite, right?
Facing easier company, finally. I just thought there was more upside with this horse. Some of the other horses, there's a lot to dislike with a lot of the other horses in here, and you're hoping that they can move up to I think this horse has been at the level that wins this race.
Oh, no question about it. This is probably the most logical horse in this race. I don't disagree. What about Big Hazel? Is Big Hazel ever going to run anywhere close to this win at Belmont? We got a dry track. Okay, you want to use the wet track? I mean, is her race 2 back when she was running against better good enough to compete here? I think it is.
I do.
I'm not sure Big Hazel isn't kind of one of the horses to beat in here.
I like her. Yeah, this is this is 2 back?
No, this is the win. This is the win. This is the only good effort. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some ability in there somewhere with this performance where it just has not been able to show it since that time.
No.
But in there somewhere, and maybe it's getting down to the lowest level she's been since this win. Let's get the lowest level she's ever been at. We're going to see, she doesn't have to have that race to win against this group.
I'm thinking the drop down's going to help her, and I thought her race 2 back was enough to win. And she was, I don't know that she's the same price as the horse that I picked. I think she's a much more likely winner than Hypnocurrency. At the same price, I would pick Big Hazel. Now, listen, David's right about these lines far more often than not, so maybe I've misread that. They're the 2 I wanted. I just thought Hypnocurrency would be a much bigger price, and I am simply taking this horse on the trainer change to Chris Englehart because his barn's been going incredibly well.
The win came at a mile. It was
not good enough probably to win this race.
No.
This horse is going to have to improve for Chris. I'm taking this horse, hoping the horse improves for Chris. He won with that ridiculous horse last week, Alternate Reality. I know a lot of horses didn't show up in the race, but the horse still ran a career top, and it just seems like his barn has gotten very live, similar to what happened last year. It's also a private purchase since then for Chris, his wife, Sheila. I assume Sheila is his wife. I don't know. I just thought this horse was interesting getting into this barn. And it's run a couple of figures fast enough to win, and I figure you get the best of it out of because of Chris. That's why I took the horse.
I feel like barn-wise, too, maybe the most reliable that you're going to see improvement. I worry about the layoff, even though he has good numbers off the bench. I just wanted to take more of a proven product.
It's fine. I don't, listen, I think Dash Deal's the horse to beat, kind of. I think that Big Hazel is going to be shorter than 5-1. I could be dead wrong. I mean, Juliana's Rose is coming off a long layoff and 2 terrible races. I thought the Big Hazel on the drop down would take money in here. And if I misread it and the 1 and 6 are the same price, I would pick the 6.
Yeah. Still, with the drop, though, the 7 is going to be is a bit of a danger in here, right?
I guess she is. She got back form, but she left here in just disgrace. I mean, she was terrible. And it's not like she's a horse that had that heavy a workload. So, you give her time, and maybe she gets back to her better races. But he gave her time, and he's also dropping her down.
Yeah.
And he could have run her in a 40 and waiver. Now, maybe the race didn't come up. I don't know, but give the horse time, and then you drop down. I mean, I don't know if anybody's going to claim her, but so maybe it's the right move. Speaking of Sue Ellen Michigan, she's in race number 7. I don't like her. You have her 3rd. I don't have her anywhere. The horse I want to talk about is Lady Mine, and
I'm sorry, real quick. I had changed these. It's my fault. I didn't alert. My picks are different than what's up there.
What should your picks be?
5816.
5816.
My apologies. It is correct on the website.
but he didn't send you. It's not your fault. It's Greg's. It's not you. It's me. For once, she's running in a race, and it's not going to be a muddy sealed track. She's also running against much better horses than she's run against. I feel like she's going to get the money because of the wins. I don't think we're going to be dealing with this kind of racetrack at all at this point, and I don't want this horse.
Sue Ellen.
No, Lady Mine.
Yeah,
This is Lady Mine.
she's
I don't
run
want Sue Ellen either.
2 back-to-back really big efforts that I think makes her, in some ways, the filly to beat in this spot. They were on wet tracks.
Fast paces. She's not getting a fast pace here.
7 furlongs is a question for me with her as well.
She beats me.
Yeah.
Streak ends here. Sue Ellen, Michigan, I'm just not a fan. I mean, she was on a good rail last time. I thought she was awful.
She also was a vet scratch in early January, for what that's worth.
Beaten by your horse, Gone and Forgotten. Talk about Gone and Forgotten.
So, Gone and Forgotten, December 31st, speed was a bit of an advantage. I think most would agree with that day. Stumbled at the start, usually is a lot more forward. This horse has been primarily in sprints and can be tactical in sprints, was nowhere near the front because of that bad break that day, stretching out to a mile. Was about 4 wide early. And just a big, determined finish. And I think with a better break can put herself in the game a little bit more today. And I think can show that big finish she had. I think she's a major player.
Yeah, one thing I'll say with the stumble at start. This horse lost no ground. It was a stumble forward. This horse
But it was a legitimate...
But the horse was not really bothered by it.
That's tough to say. In terms of position, potentially yes.
We can agree to disagree.
Okay.
But I think she ran well last time, and I think she can win this race. And I'm always a fan of Horacia's horses. She can win. I'm going to give Midtown Lights. I'm going to go on this theory on Midtown Lights. So Brad Cox horse, it's not going to be a short price. We're going to go back and look at her winning last March. This is a horse who earlier in her 3-year-old year was running figures in the mid-70s. Routine improvement off of the layoff puts her in the 80s. If she runs that kind of figure, she'll beat this field. We've seen Brad Cox do this before. We've seen him do it in New York with his team. I've never loved this horse, but she's a horse that was competitive with these horses early in her 3-year-old year. If she has improved at all off the layoff, I thought she could beat this field. It was just, when I got down to it, Greg, there were just a lot of horses in here I just didn't want.
She should be in my top 4. I probably made a mistake there, but she's faced, the layoff concerned me a little bit with her, the way she didn't finish her years, but she's faced the best company of anybody in this field,
Correct.
And it's Brad Cox.
Turf last time, Downtown Mischief. I know she seems to have gone the wrong way. What do you do with Timely Conquest? I've got her second because she does have that big win, albeit with a bias in Saratoga, and at least she's not going to be a super short price in here, but she was awful last time.
She's awful last time. She was not that great the time before. She's got that one big race, which numbers I look at was not quite as big as what it shows here, Beyer speed figure-wise.
Isn't Kendrick going to put her right on top
Yes.
of the 2 in this race?
Oh, going to be
I think
extremely
you're going to
aggressive.
see her more forward. But her first race, where she ran so well, she closed that day. So I don't want to use the fact that she was rated last time behind a quick pace as an excuse. She was bad last time.
Coming in fresh, too, I think she's going to be fire out of there. I thought the 8 was another one that was very, you have 4th, I have 2nd. Missing Fortune, I think, takes a step forward today. If that's good enough to win, I don't know, but I think she's going to certainly run her race and probably better what we've seen the last 2 starts.
Yeah, I think she's logical. She got to get the mile. But I think she's logical in here. I don't have any problem with her. I've got her in the mix as well.
7/8,
But
yeah.
this was a fun race. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to take Midtown Lights. You have Gone and Forgotten, who I picked 3rd. Race number 8. Race number 8. So let's take a look at No Surrender finishing 2nd and Growth Mindset finishing 3rd. I was going to show the last race where No Surrender had some trouble, but I agree with you. No Surrender, getting back to a 1-turn mile, and I didn't think he had the best of trips last time, to be kind.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So, it looked like checked a little bit, and then the rider was kind of bouncing up and down in the irons and the backstretch. I don't know exactly what happened.
I also think he didn't finish in the last 16th to 8th of a mile.
Yeah.
So I think he had trouble, and I think he's going to benefit from less distance.
I totally agree with the cutting back from a mile and an 1/8 too. And the
Delicious.
horses put together back-to-back efforts, paired up where I feel the horse moves forward. I don't think it's going to take much of a forward move for someone to win against this group. And some of these horses like A-Lister, I cannot take that horse.
No
Just-
A-listers at over 13 for me. I guess Growth Mindset can win. It is an interesting trainer change to Peter Walder. And to be fair, this horse was down inside last time, and I think the rail was dead on December 1st. So I will give that horse a big excuse, and actually prefer over No Surrender, excuse me, because of the rail. I like Little Skippy here. What did Horacio De Paz see and claim this horse? Right? I mean, this
Yeah.
is like one of the most surprising claims I've seen.
Well, there's a
And-
little ability in that first off the turf maiden special, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was
hint.
okay. The horse is running by her. I mean, the horse's run figures that are competitive enough. It just seemed like an odd claim for him off the last race. And the horse didn't run well, but I'm going to trust in Horacio De Paz. I'm going to use 2s and 7s in here. You have the 6 on top and no 7 in there?
I didn't like that race from the 7 at all.
Well, the rail was dead.
I didn't like the previous 8 races from that horse at all.
Okay.
I mean, it's a 5-year-old now who has hit the board once and is just going in the wrong direction to me.
Okay. All right. I'm 2s and 7s. You're 6, and you've got Bella the Ball. Is there something with Bella the Ball, or just, oh, it's Linda?
It's Linda.
awful
It's
last.
it's stretching out. It was terrible. But I thought the 7/8 race at Tampa in a maiden special when the horse was forward, I know beat it 2-5 that day, but it was a next out winner. At least there's a hint of ability there. It's probably not that same horse anymore, but if anyone can find what this, it's a 5-year-old mare too,
Right.
who is not shown a whole
Mare
lot.
against the boys.
Yeah.
I guess Linda's looking for a spot and doesn't mind taking a shot. She's a woman against the boys who's done pretty well, so
She
why can't
has.
her horses? All right, Greg, thanks. Greg and I will be on America's Day at the Races from 1:30 to 4:30, covering races from here and Tampa. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Head over to the Naira Bet site for track stats. Also follow the Naira Bet site to get all sorts of those kinds of information and find out where to find that kind of info. We have a $2,000 hit and split in late pick 4.
Opt in.
Got to opt in for that. And 1:30, we got a slate, 1:30 to 4:30 today on FS2. Greg, I'll see you upstairs. We'll see you out in TV land. And Chris Griffin up next.
See you on the air.
Scratch and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.